Hello, ladies and gentlemen. PSG.LGD up against Mineski. I'm ODPixel, and I am joined by the gorgeous Tsunami. Tsunami, this should be a fun one. We have indeed got a Meepo pick coming through at the end here by Mineski. How do you rate it as a sort of a fifth pick here from them against this lineup of PSG.LGD? Could this be something that catches them off guard, or if you're PSG.LGD, are you feeling pretty comfortable that you've got ways to deal with a Meepo?
It may have seemed like the panel was just clowning around, but I had done a fair amount of prep for this. This is a major. This is my first major. I wanted to make sure I came into this well. I did more, studying on this than I did for my SATs. And much like me studying for my SATs, all of it goes out the window whenever you finally show up to the event. This Meepo is coming completely out of left field. I saw success with it at the minor, and IP used it very successfully with Ace against the Storm Spirit. And so it's possible that it's being shown to be a more situational counter. It completely shut down alliances. I believe it was Koikfa playing the Storm Spirit, made him look completely neutered. And so in this regard, I do think the hero is being effective. In the grand scheme of how you're going to be able to out-carry a lone druid, that remains to be determined.
Let's see here as we get ourselves into the action, and indeed RG, of course, taking the Meepo to the mid lane, and we'll be starting against that Storm Spirit. So, I mean, in terms of how the laning stage goes, is it sort of a case of when you hit that level, you get that second Meepo, you are going to have that CS sort of advantage against the Storm? Or if the Storm gets a good start in the first couple of levels, can it be a bit hard for the Meepo at the beginning, and Arjit would look to go to the jungle pretty early?
Yeah, it's also, it's all of that, and then it's very one of the more mechanically intense matchups that you'll see, because even beyond like when do you skill up your second Meepo? That's a big opening. Do you decide to take Ransack early on if you need like a little bit of lifesteal or something like that? Oftentimes you want to skip Earthbind for as long as possible and stuff like that. So it's very, very mechanical based, and it's also very, very rotation based. A lot of times you can take advantage of a Meepo in the mid lane. Bring a Sand King by, maybe get a quick gank, and you'll be able to slow him down substantially. So it's difficult to say just before the laning stage actually starts, but depending on the movement from these side lanes and depending on the first few CS can really start to snowball how effective these two heroes will be.
We can see the aggressive way that PSG.LGD has begun the game. They started off with the three of them top, did manage to secure themselves 3 of the 4 bounty runes to begin with, and they're doing this. They're cutting the creeps entirely here with the Iron Shells, which is going to mean, of course, that first Radiant Wave will be underneath the tower and can give PSG.LGD sort of that lane positioning advantage. And as obviously after they've made that play, they're moving back to the 2-1-2s. I mean, we talked about the mid, looking at these side lanes. I mean, how top lane, Mineski, how do they deal with this? You're going to have every single creep wave being cut behind the tower.
Dude, these are the times as a Juggernaut you're like, what if I just built 2 more slippers and then maybe Poor Man's Shield will just reemerge out of thin air, but unfortunately not going to be the case. Juggernaut can deal with it better than a lot of other carries. He's got 6 armor, he's got a stout shield, he's got a wave clear ability, and if he really needs it, he can also rely on the healing ward. So it's not as severe as it is against some other carries, but it's Silencer who's really going to be feeling depressed about this whole turn of events.
F5 as well with just a little bit of a body block to get that extra time for that extra bit of damage. Right click onto Ninja Boogie. But this is Dota 2 nowadays. You get a Darkseer in the game, this is what you're going to do. You're going to be cutting the wave, just destroying sort of any sort of balance or momentum that Mineski would have hoped to have on this top lane. There's indeed a bit of a sad start here for Ninja Boogie's Silencer. Not a whole lot he can do against this sort of action, and he's just going to get sort of pushed away anytime he tries to come near these two heroes.
Yeah, that's Dota 2 these days, and it's also Dota 2 with our Enigma, Raging Potato. Now you look at him and you're like, he's only got 2 clarities, that's a little bit suspicious, but then you click on the Beastmaster, you see that he has a Ring of Regen, and it's not owned by him, it's owned by his Enigma. He handed it to him. This is something that we see very frequently whenever you have an offlane bounty hunter. I believe this is the first time I've seen it with a Beastmaster, but it's just a very popular strategy to make sure that your offlaner he gets solo experience and then is not getting completely bullied out, because Enigma doesn't need those items. He's just jungling around, and FY has to follow him around with his Sand King.
This is sort of, I guess, the beauty of playing aggressive as PSG.LGD are on this top lane when you're against an Enigma, because it's sort of the second support that, what's he going to do about it? He can't really help out the Silencer. You've got Ninja Boogie saying, I need help, and Raging Potatoes, well, I can come and maybe jungle a little closer. He does that. I mean, you saw the Sand King walks over and starts to take his CS. It's just not a pretty part of the map, that top off at all. I mean, how we're looking at the other lanes at the moment. The mid lane matchup, pretty much even on the CS between the two of them. 14 for 2, 14 for 1 between Arjit and Maybe. So no sort of crazy disparity there between both of the sides. And bottom lane, how much are both of these getting? KP 10 for 4 and Arme 11 for 3. So not necessarily perfect farm here for the Lone Druid down bottom. And you look the way at top, even though those waves have been being cut, the Jug, he is farming all right. As you say, I guess, with the good stats, with the good armor, he doesn't mind sort of having that extra pressure on him underneath the tower, and he's still able to hit the CS very nicely, 24 for 3.
Yeah, and he's even jungling, well, pulling the enemy wave into his jungle and being able to pick up all of that as well. So this is often the gambit whenever you cut waves like this. A lot of times, some heroes will only do it for like the first wave and the second wave, and they're like, all right, and now I have level 2, 3, now I'm going to start laning against you. It's a little bit harder for Darkseer versus Juggernaut because of that Blade Fury. You can't just bully him with Ion Shell, but you see the situational advantage that a Juggernaut would have, as you see his creep advantage. He's nearly doubling the CS of the Lone Druid.
Yeah, this is, I mean, as you say, this has got to be something that PSG.LGD are going to have in mind that's going to happen when they do this play. They're going to expect that the Jug will have an okay time, and again, so far, he's absolutely crushing it on that top. He's going to get, solo XP, all the farm. And we'll see what they're able to do with it. Obviously, the overall sort of slowdown as a team does mean that the support's going to be behind, but this movement towards mid, indeed, with the curse down onto the Storm Spirit. He's trying to drag an Arjit. Arjit moving away the uphill miss. Arjit survives and will get the first blood on to maybe there. Fantastic help there from Ninja Boogie, just throwing in an extra spell, making sure it goes on, and of course a good old bit of that RNG helping out Arjit, and meaning that he's not the first to die, and he gets that first blood on Storm. That's huge in a matchup in an inner lane that was very even up until that point.
Definitely, and a hero like Stormstart, who is, I mean, again, Meepo in the mid lane, going to go down yet again. This is not a hero that you can afford to die this.
Well, he lit the first time. I mean,
Sorry,
I don't blame you. Looking at that could have gone either way the first time. But at least they get the kill back.
Yeah, and that's critical because a hero, both these heroes are very snowball dependent. Both of them can revert into the jungle very easily, but you need to make sure that these early levels are monitored. And so the Oracle coming mid to make sure that the Meepo didn't accelerate too much, and Ninja Boogie coming mid with his silencer. And he picked up a cheeky 2-int as now we're going to fight over the runes.
Nice little roll there from Arme, securing the bounty rune with his bear. And once again, the 5-minute runes, it's going to be PSG.LGD getting 3 more of them. So 6 against the 2 so far in total. Getting the extra gold in terms of picking up the runes. But as you can see, in terms of the net worth, less than 1k difference in just 5 minutes. It's only 1 for 1. And a lot of that farm being kept at a similar level because of the even matchup mid, as has proved to be between Arjit and Somnus. And the fact that up top, that Jug is farming away an absolute treat.
Yeah, he's getting tons of levels too. Use Omni Slash at some point actually, as now FY going to go down.
Yeah, Arjit able to. Yeah, he said, this is all the dream from me. But it's like, sure, the lane's getting to a point where it's a little bit riskier. He has died. He knows there's a threat of him sticking around. He'll go to the jungle and he finds the support there hanging around. Bit of a bonus for Arjit.
Yeah, FY's been playing a lot of focus on this jungle. Part of it in the early stages was to check on Raging Potato's movements as the Enigma, but you need to be very aware of the stacks against a Meepo as well. So all game long, expect this jungle to be under contention. And the mid lane tower, I imagine, will also be under contention, as we all know that once you open that avenue up, it becomes very easy to transition into the enemy jungle.
And so looking, 6 minutes in being as close as it is, would you sort of say that, PSG.LGD cutting the waves up top, that hasn't really, it doesn't seem like it's done too much to sort of shake Mineski up at the start. Sure, Ninja Boogie's very far behind in levels. We are going to see Raging Potato get caught out as he tries to walk a bit nonchalantly towards that mid lane. There's 3 heroes of PSG.LGD immediately jumping upon him. But looking at the core, looking at this Juggernaut and the Meepo, it's an okay start for Arjit and Moonn.
Yeah, but much like you said, LGD is prepared for this. I love games like this where both teams are like, nah, I'm pretty sure our heroes are better than yours. And the other team's like, no, I'm pretty sure our heroes are better than yours. You don't see both teams being on like, this is our main objective. We got to keep killing this guy. And the other team's like, we got to keep saving our guy.
Yeah, exactly. They've both got a game plan. Yeah. And you can feel that both teams, they're going to be okay with this beginning. Mineski's like, we got Moonn, he's doing great. Arjit, he's doing absolutely fine. We're going to now see some rotations come through us. Maybe moves towards the top lane on his Storm. Does have a haste stream, but will not quite be able to find Moonn as a point. Moon's going to stay hidden in the trees. They don't even go looking for him. It is a hard kill. He does have Blade Fury and he does have TP. So no way to hold him back if he did go for the easy escape. But he doesn't need to. He's able to just back up towards that tier 1 tower and still living the life here. In the land of solo XP, a level 8 Jug, 7 minutes in, Moonn more than happy with the way that this top lane has ended up going, despite the fact that it's ended up going like this because of the way that PSG.LGD played the lane and cut the way, kept Ninja Boogie away.
You know, it looks more like Ame may be the focus. This Raging Potato is in the area with a smoke. But Ame's playing very, very defensively, letting this bear scout things out.
Yeah, it's very tough to get on top of him with that bear. And as you say, just great awareness from Ame. In fact, you can feel, Mineski really want this. They brought down a 4th member. They've rotated the Jug down towards this bottom lane. And Ame, he's straight out of there. He's going to go towards the top. He wants to get himself immediately away from this. Good moves and good awareness from the Lone Druid. Does mean the tower's going to go down. But PSG.LGD, moving the Lone Druid away as they were. They don't want to hold on to this one. They're going to concede this tower. This is going to help the timings and the push. And looking at Mineski's lineup, they've got this pressure. They have this Jug, Beastmaster, Enigma, even the Meepo. He gets sort of his first times along, and they're going to be banding together as a 4-man, 5-man and just running down lanes and taking towers like nobody's business.
Yeah, typically these types of rotations are a little bit peculiar to Juggernaut moving away from what is the freest of lanes, but it's because it's all about the Meepo. Mineski know that that is the solution at the end of the day. They don't need to get this Jug ultra farmed, they just need to keep the pressure off Meepo for as long as possible. And that's why LGD are returning the favor. They are pushing mid because they want to make sure that they know exactly what is going on in the Mineski jungles.
Moonn heading in. He does have Omni Slash, doesn't have the mana, has got 5-1 charges. So already they're staying away from one another. The tower has gone down. See if anyone can get a jump. They do manage to lead in there actually with the stun onto the Jug, and that's the setup they need. Straight in with the follow-up zip. That's going to be Moonn dead, caught out by the Helm of the Dominator play from Chalice. He's able to just walk up with the Senton, get that stun off. He shouldn't be letting that happen as the Jug.
I mean, do you really want a Blade Fury for a Centaur? It's just a dominated Centaur. What's the worst that could happen?
Next time he's learned his lesson.
He has learned his lesson,
He has learned his lesson.
Yeah, you got to respect these dominated creep move speeds. So a little bit of a freebie. He even had drum as well, but this is his typical build. But hey, it's not the Meepo. That's all that matters at the end of the day for Mineski.
And we're seeing talking about builds on Ame. He is going to be going for that Midas first, and then sort of Radiance Rush on the Lone Druid. So Midas pretty much nearly done. He has the recipe gold in about 100, I believe. As with the zip, Somnus will take the Invis room, take it away from Mineski potentially. Taking that from him. Top lane KP getting some space. He has, of course, got the Vlad stun. And building towards these auras to help the team get mobile. Argit treads 4 Wraith Bands, 10 minutes in. A very scary threat on the Meepo if he finds any heroes alone. Great stats for the early game. And Kaya finished and picked up. Again, down bottom. He's got the blade through this time. Takes a lot of damage, though, every time Moonn. He's sort of playing on the edge. He's allowing himself to be stunned by the Centaur. Sure, he doesn't die, but it's still scary. You see that sort of situation. If there's a third hero there, he'd be gone. Moon's got to be careful.
Yeah, really the only justification I have for him playing on the Razor's Edge like this is because he just wants to protect the Meepo. Because LGD have set up a fair amount of vision in the jungle, but they haven't been able to convert on it. Storm Spirit, he has that Kaya completed. He actually has an Invis rune bottle, so he may want to make moves, but he can't do it himself. He needs at least a +1. And if Juggernaut just keeps showing himself on the map, that means that they can't easily transition into the jungle because, Juggernaut is just a meat shield in the other meat decoys. Now Sand King going to go in on the Silencer. And
they've got him again. Chalice is there with a follow-up stun. The Centaur doing a lot of work.
Yeah, this combination is disgusting. They're just filtering in the Burrow Strike into the Centaur Stomp.
Let's see what they can find here. Ooh. Did come under the cover of that Sentry rune there, Sentry Ward. And that did allow Argit to try and make a bit of a play with the root. But, quick awareness and quick fingers from maybe gets him out there safely. Go from Chalice, just of course the standard auras, the helm, and then into the mech. Make sure that his team themselves ready to fight. There's going to be the aggressive play up top underneath the tier 1, straight in onto KP. TPs are coming through. They'll take down the tower. Army's able to get the last hit. See if Mineski can do anything in terms of turning it around. Curse will be thrown out onto the Storm Spirit. Mineski banding around the healing ward, making sure that they're in fighting shape. They're not able to really find a jump. We are going to see maybe separate himself from the top lane. TP's down, keeping that rune control good. As he picks up the DD, heads towards mid with the zip. They've got the Meepo straight away. The setup was there from FY. He's able to walk in, find the setup required for maybe to follow up, get the kill on Argit. Back up top. Ame trying to get the root off onto Moonn. Will get it. The bear in a bit of trouble, taking a little bit of a beating, but they're able to move it away back to the tower. Mineski don't want to dive any further. They've got to be careful, got to be aware that Storm could be nearby. And he is indeed. He's in the jungle. In fact, all 4 of PSG.LGD at the moment, while space is being made for Chalice to keep the pressure in on bottom. You can see maybe hunting for a chance to zip in if any of his team find a setup. Moonn just hiding in the trees. Looks like PSG.LGD won't find anyone else for now. Moonn does have that Omni Slash if he finds a single target.
Kind of all alone now, though, so it may have been an aggressive maneuver, and he was like, I think I might be stuck, guys, because he has no TP either.
Mineski, they do want to help Moonn, get him out of this sticky situation, and maybe try and find some action themselves. They have got that raw on KP that they want to use. They'll find the target straight away. Arme's going to be caught out. Moonn gets on top of him, but the false promise save will be there from X-Nova. Raging Potato moving in as well, caught out by the FY Sand King stun. The Bear's on top of him, the raw as well, sending the Jug back. Moon's trying to get back in and stuck him for a chance to find someone in trade for losing their Enigma. They're looking towards Arme, still backing himself away. FY, another stun, holds the Jug at bay as Arme's able to walk himself out of this. Moon's desperately trying to charge in, but there's the zip-in. The backup comes through. Maybe he's on top of the Jug, brings him in with a Vortex. Jug's dead, Ninja Boogie will be able to TP away. But Mineski, they came looking for a kill, using that raw. They've lost many heroes for it. KP's trying his best to get away, but FY surged up by Chalice. He's able to chase this one down. He's got the Burrow Strike. He's saving it until the rest of his team's nearby, and now they are. Chalice is in, the damage is done, KP is dead, and PSG.LGD very much schooling Mineski there on when isn't a good time to take a fight. As Mineski, they really wanted to make something happen with that raw, but it was an entire disaster.
Yeah, it's an excellent way to put it. They just put on a clinic. So pretty much that entire time during the first half of the fight, whenever Jug re-emerged from the jungle, Storm Spirit was bought, because much as how we saw Meepo die in the mid lane, whenever there's a fight going on, Storm's like, I don't care about this fight, because I don't care about these heroes. I want to go find where the Meepo's at. Last time, he picked up a double damage rune, immediately headed mid. This time, Jug re-emerged from the jungle, he was like, I don't care about Jug. He was in the bot lane, looking for the Meepo. Meepo didn't show himself, and Juggernaut had been chasing nearly all the way back to the LGD tier 1 tower in the offlane. Storm was like, alright, fine, I'll join the fight now. He does, gets the kill, and just really, really great prioritization of targets from the Storm Spirit.
It really is, yeah. Maybe he certainly is back here to full form in this game. Showing us, well, not necessarily all the teams we missed, they've been doing all right, but now he's back. He's showing that he's still there at that top mid-standard. Has every read, every setup, the Storm has always been there to back up the initiation from his teammates.
Now, this is just a Storm with Kaya. This is not like an exceptionally farmed Storm. He is top net worth, but it's not because of like an amazing snowballing laning phase or something like that. This is just smart positioning.
I mean, Neski, they're just running at them. They're still desperately trying to force some action that's going to favor them, but it's 15.5 minutes in, 9 for 2 for PSG.LGD as they hold an 8K lead. It just seems so hard for Mineski's heroes to do anything now that they're behind. We saw this Jug, Moonn, he had a free farm lane, free XP. But the problem is he turns up to these fights, and what's he going to do? There's 5 heroes, plus a bear, plus a dominated creep. He can't go for an Omni Slash. He's not going to have the chance to find anyone alone, get the damage done. There's surges, you know, there's sandstorms, FY's disappearing in front of him. The Jug just feels like there's nothing that he can do in terms of bringing any sort of powerful force to the fights that PSG.LGD are always responding with.
Yeah, and this is where the initial game plan starts to break down. LGD is like, I told you this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. And Mineski's like, they're starting to tug at the collar, and they're a little bit like, maybe the Jug can't get us through the mid game. Maybe this Meepo may not be able to get us to the late game. I mean, our Jug's getting stomped by Centaurs.
He's in with the Blade Fury already used. There's no save for him. The Global Silence comes in, but it was after the zip had begun by Maybe, so he still is able to land it straight on the Jug. They've got the false promise to protect the Storm. FY comes in with the Burrow Strike. The Black Hole is there, holding down the 2 of them. Raging Potato trying his best to set up some sort of trade, and they will manage to kill off Maybe. The Storm is dead. They find something, and in this condition that this game is at the moment for Mineski, they'll certainly take that. A 1-for-1. Their Jug for a very, very fat Storm Spirit.
And a great way to debut the Blink Dagger on Meepo. I'm pretty sure that's the first time they showed it. He's had his Meepos farming, but I don't know if the primary Meepo was in Vision, and so Storm Spirit definitely did not expect that. Good reflexes on X-Nova to immediately get the false promise, but Raging Potato was just able to stroll in, easy Black Hole, and finally be able to put a stop to Storm Spirit's dominance.
I find that he did just go for an epicenter and a jump into the mud gold.
Yeah.
He didn't have vision. Maybe he felt he had sort of his spidey senses tingling. He felt that someone was farming that cab.
Dude,
and
I mean,
hey, if there were,
Meepo could be anywhere. You know, it's a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
but not this time.
No, they're kind of cruising at the moment, PSG.LGD, so they can take these risks, you know, go for the flashy plays. And FY back in on the mid lane. KP walks forward, presents himself, and FY says, I'll take that.
Dominated Centaur does die, though, so Chalice is going to need to find another one, and I think that's pretty critical to the way that they're playing this with FY. But things are still going fairly well. The Meepo is getting progressively more and more pressure on him. It's an 8k net worth advantage at 18 minutes. This is not where you want to be as a Meepo.
It's always a very hard game for Argits to sort of pull around, even with the flashiest of Meepo performances. Up top, Moonn is being hunted. Zip into the trees. Maybe he's got his eyes on him. Moonn has got a Blade Fury. Does have a TP. Will use both. Does manage to make the easy escape, but still, it's just Moonn having to be very, very careful across the map.
Oh, interesting. And Ajit's been debating between two builds. He had the beginnings of a Scotty in his quick buy, but maybe he was just thinking that if I can't make my way to the Eagle Song, I'll just quick buy an Ultimate Orb, go with the Scotty. But now he was able to get the Eagle Song, and he's working his way to the E-Blade, and that can be very, very effective. It's now another initiation from the Sand King.
FY straight in onto the high ground. He's got a lot of backup with him, of course. The entirety of PSG.LGD more than ready to fight as they charge forward, looking for Moonn. Moonn gets dragged back with the vacuum. The Global Silence does come out as they'll look towards the Storm. The false promise, though, is there from xNova, keeping maybe safe. Just getting a lot of damage down onto him, but FY's there. Another Burrow Strike onto the Meepos. Back in as the Storm Spirit. Enough healing to keep him alive after that false promise, and another failed fight from Mineski. As 2 die and PSG.LGD lose nothing, they'll move straight away on for the push in the middle lane, taking this tier 2 tower. FY's already on the hunt up top. He has got the epicenter back online. I don't know if on his own he could go for solo kills. Ninja Boogie, though, will not be making a TP home. As FY is able to cancel it, blink away. The base is in a lot of trouble. Arme, 19 minutes in, Midas Radiance, Phase Boots. This bear is ready to go, ready to end this as they're taking down the middle lane. We'll see what sort of a response is going to be there from Mineski. They don't quite have the Black Hole back online. That was that one big force that did allow them to get a kill earlier. So they'll lose the tower. See how much mercy PSG.LGD give them. It's not going to be a lot.
No
Straight
mercy.
in with the zip on top of KP. No healing ward is going to outdo the damage that this Storm is sending out at the moment. They even catch Raging Potato outside of the base. 2 more kills for PSG.LGD. As at 20 minutes in, 15-3, 14k, 15k advantage. Mid-racks down. This is looking to be PSG.LGD on that form, on that level that people were saying that they would be here at this major.
And it's their entire team. Like, xNova has been so good. Playing Oracle against the Silencer is a nightmare situation in most situations. Playing Silencer against a farm Storm Spirit is also pretty nightmarish, especially if you're a support Silencer. And one tier 3 tower quickly snowballed into 1 racks, now turning into 2 racks, and it's becoming past the point of no return, even for a Meepo.
It certainly looks like it. I mean, and would you say, with how much of this is on the play, do you feel that Mineski with their draft could have had a better shot? Or was it always destined to be this hard for them and for PSG.LGD to make it look as easy as they have? PSG.LGD have made this look very smooth.
And I think it's because they're just good. I don't necessarily think that Mineski dropped the ball with the draft. I think the draft had potential both ways. Like, you know, you've got plenty of control for the Storm Spirit. The Meepo is theoretically amazing with the Earth Binding. Obviously, you got the Roar, you got the Silencer. These are all great recipes to deal with a Storm Spirit. None of it has come to fruition. And I think that's entirely just off of the playmaking abilities of LGD.
The game will still continue. Mineski, they are down 2 sets of racks, but they did have the tier 2 still alive on that bottom lane. So Mega Creeps at least weren't threatened for them as of yet. They'll see if they can pull things around with any major play, and they do have that Black Hole. There's always the dream of the 5-man Black Holes that could come into play.
Yeah, but now the Global isn't going to be as useful as 2 Yule Scepters are freshly completed. The Sand King and the Storm Spirit both have the way to purge off that Global Silence.
Argit's still not quite having that E-Blade as well. They need something that's going to allow them to at least start the fights off with a quick kill. Otherwise, as we've seen, every time xNova will be there to save his cause, keep maybe Storm Spirit safe. Arme, he's not really needed saving from his teammates because of how big he is and the fact that he's got that bear ready to fear away his opponents. It's just so hard for Mineski to get those core kills, especially as pretty much everybody on LGD is at least an item ahead of their counterpart Mineski now.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily the fault of Mineski to like initiate on the Storm Spirit. Oftentimes you need to test your enemy Oracle. You're like, how quick can they really get it? How good is its positioning? And once you fail to get a kill on a core like 3 times because of this Oracle, then you have to be like, I gotta jump the Oracle every single time. If we don't kill the Oracle, we're not winning this fight.
Raging Potato needs something huge. He needs some sort of a dream black hole. They are going to zip in. Raging Potato's going to move across. It's going to get sent up into the air. The Global Silence comes out. They've lost KP. He'll buy back immediately. TP over to the Shrine. The Enigma's going to be focused, though. Maybe it removes the Enigma from the situation. Vacuum onto KP and Moonn. Buybacks all coming out from Mineski, desperately trying to do their best to turn things around. They have killed off X-Nova, who will buy back. Ninja Boogie being focused down by Arme's Lone Druid. That's going to be the Silence of Dead. They get the black hole off. They've caught one and the bear. In fact, they caught FY as well, but FY's happy to be there as the Epicenter's already revved up. He's in. Burrow Strike as well. Enigma's dead. Meepo's gone. Mineski only with 3 left alive. They cannot kill these cores of PSG.LGD, as that's going to be it. GG is called. PSG.LGD Game 1. They made it look like a very, very